Cha, 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 Igbo kwenu, we. Cha, 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 Igbo kwenu, we. Cha, 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 Igbo kwenu, we. Abia kwenu, we. Anambra kwenu, we. Ebonyi kwenu, we. Enugu kwenu, we. Imo kwenu, we. Nigeria kwezuono. Hello, beautiful friends, families and loved ones, my ardent listeners and viewers of my popular Igbo program called Let's Learn Everything About the Igbo. I'm your host, Mr. or Mazi B.O., a full-fledged Igbo son and teacher of Igbo language, culture and traditions, including general issues that affect our lives, the lives of the Igbo and the lives of non-Igbo. Today we are going to talk about another interesting topic or subject that is generally practiced in the typical Igbo setting in Igbo land. Okay, that subject is very important. So I would like you all to listen attentively. Okay, so that subject is known as ILO UWA. ILO UWA. ILO UWA in English is called reincarnation. Reincarnation. I know a lot of people practice reincarnation in their various or respective communities or homelands. I mean the non-Igbo. Like I usually say, anything I am talking about here in this Let's Learn Everything About the Igbo segment is all about the Igbo, my own people. Because I know these things, that's why I relate, or I am relating them to you so that you would partake in knowing what they are and how they are practiced, observed, or done in Igbo land. So whatever I'm telling you or whatever I stand to tell you is the whole truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Though I still stand to be corrected. That's just the way it is. Okay, this ILO UWA, otherwise known as reincarnation, as practiced in Igbo land, is highly respected. A lot of people you see today, probably they have one deformity or the other, maybe in the leg, one of the eyes is not there, it's not visibly working, or it's not working at all. Maybe the teeth, the dentition, any part of the body that is deformed. There are, we find a lot of them in Igbo land. We have, as we do in other cultures and tribes as well. So now, if the person is a woman or a man and has lived and probably joins his or her ancestors one time or the other, if a child is put to bed and that particular child comes from the same family, the same vicinity, non-vicinity within the community, and if that same child is given birth to with such deformity, the assumption is that the late person who had that same deformity before he or she joined his ancestors has reincarnated into someone. The person, what that reincarnation means, that the second coming, let me put it straight, reincarnation as the Igbo, as a tribe believes it to mean, is that is the second coming of a particular person who once lived. That's what the reincarnation or ILO UWA, as Igbo people call it. So that's just the meaning. Understand? So it's assumed and agreed that the person who had that deformity while he or she lived has returned. The person has visited the world again in another person's body. So in Igbo land, they will call that person Ago. Ago. So this person is Ago. of a particular person. There could be about 3 or 4, even more people who, during their divination, when they want to seek the face of the gods to confirm certain things, other people will be mentioned. You might see someone in another community in the same, local government, in the same town, but a different community. The person we mentioned, other people we mentioned as well. So those people are now united by a reincarnation, based on one particular person who is late now, or who is late at present, who has returned in the form of these different people mentioned. That's what that reincarnation is all about. So it could be that when the person was alive, he loved everything in skirt, and when he eventually left the earth to join his ancestors, other people, kids, were given birth to, and sometimes they might say this kid or the other kid or these kids have been a particular man has reincarnated himself in them, or a particular woman has reincarnated herself in this set of people. Remember, or let me just let you know that a woman does not reincarnate to be a man. So if it's a woman who once lived, someone is actually giving birth to a baby, and is discovered that the person has features of what the other person had during his lifetime, and some other divination, inquiries they have made, summed up, the person or the group of persons will say this particular person has reincarnated. And if the person who has reincarnated in a set of people was a woman, the same people would be females. They would be females. No, a lady does not reincarnate to be a man, and a man does not reincarnate to be a female. No. Female, male, male. That's the way it's done. I wouldn't know about how reincarnation works in other tribes. I'm talking about my own tribe. I will always say this. I'm talking about my own tribe, the Igbo tribe. So I cannot talk about how reincarnation is practiced, observed, or seen, or thought about in other tribes than the Igbo. All right, so then the way that people usually find out who has reincarnated who, there are some things they do, one of which is to bring a local egg. When I say local egg, you know what I mean. It's not the kind of egg we eat in developed towns, in the rural area, in the big towns. The ones eating the rural areas, like you see the home brought up chickens, the community chickens, so popularly called okuku. So okuku means Igbo chicken. So the eggs laid by those chickens, the hens, the eggs, they are the ones called local eggs. They are the ones being used when they are seeking divination. Okay, so someone who is talented in doing that will be called upon to use the egg. So during which, when they are chanting their incantations, if anybody's name is mentioned and the egg breaks, almost immediately the person's name has been mentioned. Now the person is assumed to be who has been reincarnated by the late person. That's just the assumption. Sometimes one will keep wondering whether they seem to forget about the weight that has been placed on the egg, and it could have gone weaker at the time the last person's name has been mentioned, and the egg could just easily get broken, and they will say, oh, this person is the one. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that, but that's just the way it's done in Igbo land. Typical Igbo setting. So now that's reincarnation for you. A lot of people, their behaviors, how they talk, how they are troublemakers, if they were peacemakers, if they were rich, if they were givers, if they were stingy people, when they leave this world, they could reincarnate in other people. And when they come, during the divine seeking performance and all that, kids who were born, it will be discovered that so person has reincarnated into them. So the kids will now start growing. Assuming the kids were born outside the shores, that outside their homelands, probably those who were born, given birth to in the diaspora, like abroad, Spain, US, UK, and those outside the shores, maybe those in Lagos, in Abuja, and they were never brought home until they grown up. Once they come home and they start acting like the other person, the elderly man would now say, oh, this is the person who has reincarnated in them. The person who has reincarnated into them. They just conclude. And that's the way everybody views it. That's the way everybody sees it. Someone has been reincarnated into this earth. So it's just the way. So many ways, behaviors. And sometimes you find out that when this particular person was alive, he was a peacemaker, and another person was given birth to. Then during the divination, when they seek the divination, all these local divination, to ascertain who the person has reincarnated, who has reincarnated the person, they will tell you this social person has reincarnated into the person. Now the question they will ask is, when this particular person was alive, he was a giver. He was a cheerful giver, but this guy is wicked. He's so stingy, he doesn't like giving. But the same person, the two people, or the two individuals, are one. Because once you are viewed as being reincarnated by someone else, it means both of you, the late person and you, are viewed as one. That's just it. Just as I've mentioned a few moments ago, sometimes the behaviors of one could differ from the behaviors of the other, but both of them, could say reincarnation has taken effect upon them. The late person has been reincarnated into the present person living. So that's all about reincarnation. So it's an interesting thing. If you want to dig deeper, you have a right. You can ask me. There are so many things you would want to know about reincarnation that I wouldn't be able to, unveil here because of time. But feel free to go to my page, drop your question there, and I will be delighted to answering them. And again, please subscribe to my channel. All right, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Feel free with me. I don't bite. I'm just a human like you. Feel free. There's no question that is stupid. So just ask whatever you don't know, or whatever you know but seem to know more about that very thing. I will put you, on the right level you would want to be placed on in respect of that very issue. Okay, guys, it's time to call it, do I say a night or a day? Because people have to go to bed to have a very good rest and await the next day. I wish you all good night rest. Bye-bye. Love you all.